Hi, this is Alex from phpacademy.org with a video tutorial for the new Boston. Now in this video we're going to be taking a look at creating a jQuery plugin, but this time we're going to be allowing a callback function for our plugin. So what do I mean first of all by a callback function? Now let's take a look at how this works. It's a simple countdown where we can specify a single integer, and we count down from that integer to 0. When we reach 0, we then give our indication that the function or the plugin has completed, and then we can run the callback function. And in this case, the callback function is going to be an alert box. So when I refresh the page, you can see that we start counting down from 5. When we reach 0, or when we reach 1's still displayed, but I haven't gone into technicality with the plugin, we show this done input field. So essentially what we're doing here is I'm applying this to a div called countdown. We have the div here, and I'm using my countdown plugin which I've created inside plugin.js. I've got an option that I can specify from, and I'm saying from 5, so we can go ahead and change this to 10 if we like, and it will go ahead and count down from 10. 10, 9, 8, blah blah blah, and then this is the callback function here. So when it's done, i.e. when it reaches 0, we sort of send this callback function or allow this callback function to be executed, and that just alerts done. So this could be anything. It could be something like window.location equals http google.co.uk, for example. So we could count down from say 3. There's many useful ways that you could go ahead and use this application, and you see we're now at Google. So there's a variety of ways that you could actually take use of callback functions, particularly when you are creating your own functions. Let's just go back and refresh. Okay, so we need to figure out obviously what we're doing. Now if you haven't already looked at creating parameters or sending settings to plugins, I recommend you look at that first, because I'm not going to be going over it too much in the tutorial, but the main thing we're focusing on is this second option of our plugin declaration, and that is our callback function. So we're going to be creating this countdown timer, so if you wanted to follow along and create that as well, we're going to be creating it as a plugin obviously, and then sending this callback when we're done, or when the counter reaches 0. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the code. Okay, so on the index page here, we're going to need to create an area on our page for the countdown to be placed, so the numbers that are decrementing and eventually reaching 0 are placed. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a div, and this is going to be called countdown. Now inside ext.js we can use our countdown to apply our plugin, and our plugin, wherever it's called, on which selector that it's called, will place the countdown. So this could be absolutely anything. It could be a paragraph. As long as you select using the plugin, it will always place the numbers that are decrementing in that area. So inside ext.js, let's go ahead and outline how we might want to use our plugin before we go ahead and create it inside plugin.js. So the first thing I want to do is say document.ready, and inside here we run a function. So this is just standard sort of notation for when we start a jQuery application or jQuery code. Now inside here I'm going to go ahead and select what was it called? Countdown. So we want to select countdown, and we want to apply the countdown plugin to this. Now at the moment I'm not going to go ahead and specify any options. We'll do that as we go along and as we create our plugin, but essentially now we are creating the countdown plugin to this countdown selector. So the numbers will be in here, like 10, 9, 8, 7, blah blah blah. As I've shown you before, we need to specify two things in here. The first one is the options that we want to send to the plugin. The second is the callback function. So we'll do that in a minute, but now let's go ahead and start to actually create our plugin. So if you've already dealt with creating plugins, we use function, and sorry, that needs to be in brackets. So we use function, and then we use a $sign in here. Don't worry if you're a bit confused with this. It doesn't sort of really make sense, but this is the way we make plugins. And then we come down with this sort of block here, if that makes sense. Now after this, we want to go ahead and write jQuery and then a line terminator. And this here is the standard notation of creating or outlining a plugin. We then need to go ahead and name our plugin, so we use $sign in place of jQuery. Remember, we would usually use jQuery, but now we can use $.fn, which stands for function name or function, and then we call our function, whatever we want to call it, as long as it doesn't conflict with an existing plugin or another functionality or another, jQuery functionality. Now that we've said dollar function countdown, this is equal to a function, and inside of here will go our code. So here goes our code. Now inside of here, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and actually create the countdown itself with an interval. We're going to be setting an interval, but inside this function here, we first of all want to specify which options and also callback. So options we're going to sort of condense down into a list of settings, and at the moment we've only got one, and that was from and a particular number, and then we have our callback function at the end. So let's deal with this from 10 at the moment. So I've specified the setting as I call my plugin. Now I need to go ahead and work out how to handle it. So the first thing I need is a variable called settings, and this is an array of data, and that array of data takes the argument or parameter name and then a default value. So I'm going to set the default value to 60. What I then want to do is check if a user has provided these options. Now this settings here is not to be confused with the option set, but what we want to do is we want to go and combine them if options have been provided, i.e. if the user has typed in here. So I'm going to say if options, and the block that we want to run if options are available is we want to extend settings